King Gizzard are having a bonkers 2024. I mean, that's usually par for the course for this band that so far has 26 albums and an ever-expanding list of live releases to their name in only 14 years, but far more than the previous year, the band are touring around the world and bringing their jam-heavy live show with them. They finally went to South America in March, where they were given the red carpet treatment by that area's mega-passionate metalheads. Then, over the summer, they played a number of really large shows in Europe, including a 3-hour gig in Hamburg and a cute little acoustic show in Brighton. All the while, though, I was vicariously watching these tours all unfold over social media, over Reddit, over, of course, Setlist FM. You see, the last time King Gizzard had come to America just a year prior was pretty neat in concept. They bounced from cool venue to cool venue in subsequent residencies before capping things off with a marathon set at the world-famous Hollywood Bowl in LA. But to its execution, I was very sadly only a witness. The nearest gig to me was the band's singular festival slot that tour at Boston Calling, and I wasn't feeling desperate enough to ship all the way up to Boston just for a festival set. Poor me, poor little old me. The last show they played back when they passed by my stomping grounds of New York City, Forest Hill Stadium back in 2022, was a very jam-heavy affair, only consisting, as meaty as they were, of 11 songs. And now they were gonna skip New York outright.
You took my only food! Now I'm gonna starve!
Yeah, by the end of 2023, I was hungering for live Gizzard. But lo! What is that on yon horizon? Lo all! Rezi here, y'all's favorite music-listening, yarn-spinning catboy, and yes, I'm here to talk about King Gizzard once again. Yeah, I know, this band doesn't really land with y'all in my current audience, I get it. But with their current American tour on pause at the moment. Hey, editing Rezi here. I was originally going to get this video out sometime before King Gizzard resumed their tour in November, but unfortunately, life got in the way, and that's why there are a few anachronisms in this video. Just so you know, I've just gotta talk with y'all about my experience at the 2 King Gizzard shows, which just recently happened at Forest Hill Stadium on August 16th and 17th. As I just said, Forest Hills is where I last saw them play back when they were pushing Giztober so heavily in 2022. I had a fantastic time at that show for sure. Even though I was in the bowl and wish in hindsight that they could have played more songs instead of jams, I still found the band's jamming over the recent material to be compelling and captivating. Sadly, their time was cut short that night by a local 10 p.m. curfew, stringently enforced by a particularly nasty brand of NIMBY local to the neighborhood. As much as I and the rest of the crowd loved the show, you could feel there was a palpable sense of blue balls over the whole thing, as though the venue's enormity screamed for more. Well, apparently the band felt the same, because about a year later, they announced a 3-hour marathon set to be held at Forest Hills the following August on the 17th. I was then in the middle of putting together a 4-hour live history of the band, which, if you haven't seen it yet, please go do, it needs more love. And bought a bowl ticket on a Friday where I got paid, only for the band to then announce another Forest Hill show the day before the first. Fucking fuck! Thankfully, my mom got me a ticket for the other concert during my birthday a few months ago. And not just a bowl ticket either, an actual honest-to-God general admission ticket. I was going to be on the floor boogieing with the Weirdo Swarm one day, and then have a whole other day full of visual spectacle from the bowl. And so I got that thought that every YouTuber has at one point in their lives. How can I make content out of this? Well, a few months and over $100 spent on outfits and equipment later. Hello all, Rezi here, coming to you from the grounds of Forest Hill Stadium. I'm walking up to the will call right now. I cannot wait to see King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard tonight. Let's go! Once I got inside the venue, I was met with such a wide array of people. Young or old, black or white, straight or gay, cis or trans, didn't matter. Every sort of identity group you could think of was there, and most were in line for merch. Yeah, that's something about the Gizzard fanbase that never fails to knock me on my ass. They go so hard for merch lines. Last time I was here at Forest Hills back in 2022, they legit had a record fair going on in the hours before the show, and even then, I swear to God, there was just as many people lined up this time for the record booth. Me personally, I didn't really bother with that until the next day. For the most part, I just had a $19 chicken quesadilla, then spent the rest of my time before the gig going around chatting with some kind Gizzheads.
Hello, how's it going? How's it going, my dude? Hello there.
What's up, man?
Let's do this. Yeah.
By the way, I'm sorry. I should have been more diligent about getting and writing down these folks' names to identify them later, but you have to understand. I was doing these man-on-the-street interviews in cosplay for the first time, so part of me was actively trying to keep spaghetti from spilling out of my pockets. The opener for both shows was actually a local post-punk act straight out of Fort Greene, Geese. Now, for as much as I've been around the New York music scene since moving up here a few years ago, I'd never actually heard of them. I saw some comments on the King Gizzard subreddit that their latest album, 3D Country, had shades of the latest King Gizzard album, adopting more of an alt-country aesthetic to their songwriting. Curious, I decided to check them out at the gym, and, well, they're alright. The vocals, in my opinion, are hit or miss. Sometimes their singer, Cameron Winter, really comes off as a slurry mess, but instrumentally, shit, they're solid. Both nights I saw them, the guitarists were throwing their weight into their riffs, and the drummer was absolutely going off. There's been a lot of murmur on the subreddit and other social media from Giz fans that Geese are mid. And I do see why they'd think that, but this is not at all like a kamikaze palm tree situation where they're incompatible with King Gizzard's energy. Honestly, I'd listen to them again, and am curious to see where they go from here. At last, after Geese's honking and a solid 30-minute setup time, during which I lit up the first of 2 joints I snuck in that night, our boys took the stage. Oh, I ought to mention about some of this footage I'm using. They not only filmed the entire concert themselves, but they've actively been filming and broadcasting their entire North American tour. It's a really, really exciting time to get into King Giz, but not just because of that. As I've hinted, King Gizzard dropped a new album only a week prior named Flight B741, an album with heavy country rock inspiration and the band's most complicated vocal harmonies to date, and I'm sorry, it's another A tier. Look, I know I'm biased, but at least I didn't load the S tier up even further. There might be a few things I'd have done differently on it. In particular, I think Daily Blues could have been tightened up, but it is such a lively, energetic record ripe for live performance. So, when King Gizzard opened their set at Forest Hills with Field of Vision, the live debut of that song by the way, it was the perfect mood setter for the next 3 hours. In this moment, we were, all of us, being silly billies. The big question hanging over this concert and the next, or indeed the entire goddamn tour, is what exactly they'd play. As I've noted in the past, King Gizzard are never shy about switching up their sets, even straight up not repeating anything from night to night. When chatting with fellow Giz fans before entering the stadium, I asked them what they expected Giz to bust out and what they wanted. Were they ultimately correct?
What are you hoping to hear tonight, and what are you expecting?
Expecting? I don't know, because we have a whole marathon. I'm hoping for some live debuts. I think it's the second or third show of the tour. So live debuts, hopefully.
Oh, yeah?
I hope we get what's it called? La Risk is really good.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't done too much listening to the album.
Yeah,
I hope we get some of those lives so they really get stuck in there.
Everybody's getting ready to fight. Everybody thinks that they are right.
I'm not sure exactly. I feel like they're going to play a lot of stuff off of the album.
Right.
I would really like to hear stuff from I would really like to hear stuff from that.
I feel that.
Yeah. I would really like to hear some of their types of accents.
All right.
I would be really excited.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to hear some PDA.
Oh, hell yeah.
If I can hear Gila Monsters, do that.
Oh,
I want to be
dude,
shouting with
yeah.
the crowds.
I would love to hear anything off Butterfly 3000. I'd love to hear my favorite album from King Gizzard is In Your Mind Fuzz.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I would love to hear anything off of that.
Unfortunately, King Gizzard did not play any of their synth stuff over the 6 hours total they played that weekend, which is a crying shame if you think about it. Of the past 7 albums they've released, 4 featured prominent synth tracks and electronic influences, especially their most recent album Pre-Flight B741, The Silver Chord, and yet it was all guitar all the time at Forest Hills. Their now infamous synth table, which would get wheeled out for the rest of the tour leg, was sadly nowhere to be seen, and even though it's clear now how funky fresh those synth portions are, well, ultimately I was still alright about what we got both nights because the band are still rock gods. But I am sad that we didn't at least get a cheeky Grim Reaper. Let Ambi rap, damn it. As for what was selected, holy fuck, they surprisingly busted out a large number of older pre-Nonagon tunes. They played Cutthroat Boogie, Work This Time, and the entire Mindfuzz medley the first night, then the Bitter Boogie, Hot Wax, and 3 more Mindfuzz tracks the second night. All sounded fantastic live as they have in the past, but it definitely felt to me that they felt more self-assured of their improvisations on these songs than before. They did a version of fucking You Can Be Your Silhouette the second night, which blows the original out of the fucking water for how much more groovy and mellow it is. This self-assuredness also goes for the jammier bits the band had been inserting into their metal songs, which, though typically brief, only further served to heighten the drama of their heavy intensity. When they did get to the post-Nonagon stuff and jamming in earnest, it often resulted in some of the most musically electrifying moments in the set. Both nights opened with strong, improv-heavy medleys of songs from across their discography, liberally peppered with some Nonagon affinity, and featured similarly loose microtonal segments in their final hour. Though the band managed to deliver on songs, the jamming was also a lot of fun, and wasn't nearly as overwrought or detrimental to the entire set as it might have been if they started an hour later. Basically, I find that, at least for these 2 shows, they seem to have come to a better balance of jamming versus cramming in as much Gizzard music as they could, and the marathon concerts were all the more exciting for it. I think they really are on their way to becoming an established jam band, and shit, I ain't the only one.
How do you feel about the jammier technique the band have been taking these past few years?
I kind of loved it. Like, I really like Ice Death Planets. I don't know, when that came out, Gizzheads was awesome. It was my favorite of the,
Oh yeah,
of the
absolutely,
3.
absolutely.
End of the year, I think. But Different Tap was really good too. But, yeah, I love the jam there.
That's cool.
I like it. I mean, it's just like free expression and creativity, and I'm always like in awe of just like that flow, you know.
I am a jam band fan.
Oh,
Like,
hell yeah.
super jam band. I like Lotus, STS9. I proposed to my girlfriend at Red Rocks.
Oh, nice.
A couple years ago to STS9. So I'm a jam band kind of guy. So I would love the jammier elements. I also, I kind of like having my own specific songs and
Right
I
on,
am
yeah.
still that kind of guy.
There were absolutely moments where they played things more straight, though. For one, save for Daily Blues, the Flight B741 tunes tended to be standalone tunes in the set, giving the boys some time to banter with the crowd about the new album.
I smoked too many low-quality vapes last night, and I blown out me fucking voice. But it's a blues rock album, so it's gonna be...
You sound like me now, too.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really love how they've managed to pull these tunes off live. Not only do the shared vocal leads give more of the band some limelight, especially Cookie, Lukey, and even fucking Cavs.
Okay, that's right.
But the energetic boogie rock feel of the songs really gets you moving. If this is the start of more extensive vocal harmonies within the band, then I'm 100% on board for it. They also played most of the Murder of the Universe suite towards the end of night 2 with minimal jamming, presumably because they didn't want to step on Hantayumi's toes. But like, shit, I think that it might just be the tightest that they've ever done those particular songs. Even the more interstitial moments like Hantayumi the Confused Cyborg and Soy Protein Munt Machine were brimming with life, energy, and perhaps a little bit of vomit too. I only say perhaps because I didn't actually see anyone throw up at the gig, but shit, stick a crowd of unwashed Gizzheads into a high energy environment and I'm sure it's bound to happen. So pretty much all the music that they played was great. I mean, yeah, there were a couple of technical flubs here or there, and they almost certainly had a few lyrical or musical hiccups as well. But like, they straight up admitted their lack of practice a few times during the shows, and again, they're juggling something like over 100 songs in their live rotation, so I do get it. I used to do jazz improv in college, and one thing I learned then was that what matters during a musical performance isn't necessarily where or even how bad you fuck up. It's how you stick the landing, and most of the time, the Giz Boys did that just fine, jamming or not. Besides, their near-limitless reserves of charm also helped things feel a lot more chill and casual.
Alright, new songs. Looks like this is the oldest song. Oldest song of the night.
We're gonna play a new song, it's called Hot Wax.
We just wrote it in the bass over there.
I swear, these dudes have been bantering like this on stage for years now, but they've really been hitting their stride like they're a modern-day Beatles. I and several others were very much amused by their antics. Most notably when some bold soul among us tried to get them to play Fishing for Fishies on night 2.
Thank you.
Well, there was an attempt. And it's this fun, freewheeling attitude the bands bring to gigging that makes their live show so intoxicating to their fans.
So how do you feel about the King Gizzard live show? Like, what's your favorite part about it?
I don't know. That's a big, broad question. I feel like, I don't know. They're just really good. Everything that they've been putting out recently.
Honestly, when they do the metal sets, they usually do the simple metal songs all the time. I always love getting in the skit. And just going crazy there.
Absolutely.
Far more than any of that, though, the thing that I'm still thinking about, still buzzing from over 2 months later, is the crowd that was in attendance. King Gizzard fans are called a whole range of affectionate things. Gizzheads, the Weirdo Swarm, Gator Fuckers. Okay, that last one I just completely made up. But what they truly are, far more than just fans of an exceptional psychedelic rock band from Australia, is an ensemble of creative, chill, and deeply passionate people coming together to channel their talents into a celebration of the band and its music. Before night 2, I had the chance to go to an informal meetup arranged by Gizzheads at the Cobblestone Pub and Beer Garden blocks away from the stadium, and it was such a welcoming space. Most Gizzheads were drinking beers and shooting the breeze, while the more creative and entrepreneurial among them were selling bootleg prints, t-shirts, stickers, pins, tumblers, books, even, of course, King Gizzard live bootlegs in both cassette and vinyl. It was hard to resist the urge to go up to every vendor and say,
Shut up and take my money!
But in the end, I still spent close to $90 on merch that day, including the official band tour shirt I got at Forest Hill's merch table later. The coolest thing I got, I'd have to say, was a sick tumbler with a custom Nonagon laser engraving etched into it, but I'm happy to have also picked up a bunch of stickers and an old fan-made tour book in addition. And a brat lighter. That the King Gizzard fanbase are so creative in their designs, and that the band is lenient with bootleg merch to the point where Ambi is literally wearing a Walkie Jake shirt a fan gave the band on night 2, opens an incredible space for creative, nerdy people to interact with each other and thrive, and I love it. The Weirdo Swarm can also hang quite well. When I stepped away from the gathering to start pre-gaming the show with some catnip, I was later joined by a bunch of other Gizzheads who had the same idea, and we all just got to chatting about the band's music and a bunch of other nerdy shit. At one point I brought up to them my whole analogy of getting into jam bands from scratch being the same as getting into One Piece, and they got quite a kick out of that. Some dude even brought out a small cooler filled with like 4 beers and some coleslaw and said I could help myself. I wonder if anyone ever did do anything with that coleslaw. Just in general, though, I had a chill time over the course of the 2 days, sharing my joints with the people around me, geeking out over bands and artists besides King Gizzard, and even finding out that, in some respects, I was an elder Gizzhead.
How and when did you first get into King Gizzard?
King Gizzard? I think 2021, or maybe late 2020.
All right.
Remember, but it was at some point in the KPLW era.
Nice, nice.
It's actually a little bit of a funny story. I went to my brother's friend's house, and they were like, kind of like, we're seeing a show tomorrow, like, you know, the pit's gonna be crazy.
Oh, yeah?
And like, yeah, like, you know, my brother was like, oh, I wanna go into the pit, and he's never done it before. And I was like, sure, like, you know what, I'm gonna go to whatever concert that, like, you know, is gonna be your first pit, I'm gonna be there for you, I'm excited, let's do this.
Oh, boy.
And I, like, remember just kind of, like, standing there in the middle of their first, in the show that I saw in Central Stage. Summer stage in Central Park.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was just like blown away and was just kind of big fan ever since.
Nice. I was there too, actually.
Yeah, no way. I
So
was out
cool.
there.
I would say like 2021. That was right around the time after KG and LW came out, and I really gravitated towards like some of those the albums afterwards.
For sure.
Omnium Gatherum.
Oh, yeah.
And Butterfly 3000, all of that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those bands that I did not see myself getting into because I don't know why.
Right.
They really just struck me a whole lot, and here I am.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm going to my first show here.
Shit.
I love them a lot. King Gizzard is just, it scratches like a different itch for me.
Shoot, honestly, like I think I first heard them in 2017, maybe 2018 or so. And I only heard Nonagon Infinity. And so I was hooked on that, but I was in like kind of a weird place, and I slept on the rest of their music until I came back later and found Infest the Rat's Nest.
Nice.
And then Tetragonic Apocalypse. I started going back all the way, started listening to everything. I just kind of fell in love. I was like, damn, I've been sleeping on them this whole time.
Chill.
But I tell all my coworkers, all my friends about them. Like, it's something for everybody, you know?
Yeah.
I just love the energy.
Absolutely.
Seriously, as someone who got into the band back in 2017, I could have never expected them to blow up and build such a distinct fan base in the way they have. But they've taken risks, leveraged connections, and seized opportunities in such a way that they truly found their people. I wouldn't go on a limb to say King Gizzard are the most popular rock band around today, but their fans are certainly some of the kindest, most passionate fans I've seen for a modern rock band. Unless you think that's just my opinion, man.
How do you feel about the King Gizzard fan base? You love the sort of like crowd and scene that usually comes to them? Weirdo Swarm, as it were?
Great question, because I've come from an electronic crowd and like other kind of a scene. I think the King Gizzard crowd is really dope, you know?
Nice.
And I think that like all the people that I've met here have been really cool, and I think that like I really want to experience the rest of that, and you know, coming from other artists and things like that, I think that it just seems more welcoming. People just want to kind of like shoot the shit and do all that. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
The Weirdo Swarm. That's a good description. It's like it was my first concert, so I show up and I'm like, a lot of people look like me, like the long hair.
Yeah.
Okay, colorful shirts.
No, yeah, it's pretty good. Everyone's pretty nice and accepting, and I always have a good time talking to people. Yeah, it's like slowly getting more diverse, so that's a good thing.
Nice.
I don't know. I feel like it's just kind of like wacky. I'm on a train and like, you know, getting here from like, you know, Brooklyn.
That's
And
fair.
yeah, I don't know. Everyone is kind of like, it's pretty clear that I'm going to a Gizzard concert. I saw like 1 or 2 people on the
Hell yeah.
Gizzheads are an ever-diversifying, fun-seeking, creatively minded group of people, and I am so fortunate to count myself among them. Overall, I had a fantastic time at both Forest Hills Marathon concerts. King Gizzard, in a truly stunning move, have live-streamed the rest of the dates on their American tour for free on YouTube in addition to the Forest Hills ones. Seriously, if you're a budding fan of King Gizzard, go subscribe to them and check those streams out when they resume this fall. That is to say, right now, and though I've been having fun tuning into them myself, the raw experience of the Forest Hills shows is a memory I'm not likely to forget anytime soon. I'm not sure which night I had more fun during, honestly. Comparing seeing a Forest Hills show from the pit versus from the bowl is like apples and oranges, especially with set lists this diverse. But during both, the band showed an increased mastery over a few different aspects of their live show, namely better jamming intuition and setlist flow. The crowd went nuts, and so did I. I mean, not that I was seen to begin with, but you know. The only thing I was sad about was the fact that I've got to wait at least another year to do this sort of thing again. Already got my tickets, baby, let's fucking go! Though, at least that's still less time than the fans in their native Aus have had to wait for another substantial tour. But anyways, if any of y'all watching went to the shows, what did you think? Comment below about it, or if you didn't go, share with me a cool memory from a Giz concert that you did go to. That engagement will help my small channel to grow, in addition to liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and clicking on the notification bell for future content. So if you love neat music-related deep dives and review videos like this one, definitely go do all that. Also, you can follow me on Blue Sky or the inferior platform for updates and shit posts. Finally, if you want to go the extra mile and support me financially, I've got a Ko-fi for one-off donations and a Patreon page where for only $2 a month, you can gain access to all my videos ad-free as well as blog posts, video previews, and even exclusive content like a supercut of all the raw interviews, B-roll, and live footage that I shot for this video. For $4 additional bucks, you can participate in priority Q&As and polls on future content. Totally understand if it isn't within your budget, but any financial support you give to what I do is greatly appreciated. But all that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. I've been Rezi, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye!